What's up, guys? It's your boy. If I sound a little weird right now, it's my mouth. It's still like halfway numb. I think I literally just got back from the dentist, and it was a rough one. I don't think stuff's worn off, but I'm still feeling a little woozy. But whatever, man. I don't care. I'm getting this freaking video out right now, regardless. This has been bugging the crap out of me, and I can't stand it anymore. We have to address it. We got a problem, okay? And you know, in some ways, I gotta kind of hand it to you, 2K. Like this is pretty random. Like I wouldn't have been able to make this up. All right, so what am I talking about? Well, you may or may not have noticed. We got two unrelated sliders that are inexplicably linked for no reason. So when you change one, the other automatically changes to the same thing, and you can't do anything about it. So they can't be set to different numbers. They have to be on the same setting. And I test all these individually, and of course it would work out this way where, you know, of course these are two sliders where we would absolutely want them set to different settings. Of course, we couldn't have gotten lucky and had it been two sliders where we want at the same setting anyway. Well, that didn't work out for us, and these sliders have nothing to do with each other, so that sucks too. But yeah, here's the two sliders. So the first one is the player regression slider, so pretty important. And then the other one is the assist slider under the simulation sliders. So that's what it is. Now, ideally, here's what we'd want. We'd want the regression slider at 54, and that's actually for both gens. And then we'd want the assist slider at 50 on next gen, and then at 51 on current gen. Okay, and just on its face, that might not look like a very big difference, so you might say, what's the big deal? Trust me, when you actually play out the results, those are 3 or 4 big notches. Oh, yeah, it's a bigger problem than it looks like on the surface when you actually see the results that this is causing. So we get why that's a problem. What do? I got 2 different solutions for you, and there's an up and a down side to each. So we'll go over that. So option number 1. So most of the player progression and player regression, that happens during the off season, right? So given that, what we could do is just change the sliders periodically, right? So we set the 2 sliders to the correct setting to get the right assist during the season. And then right after the season ends, right before we go into the off season, we change it to the correct setting for the player regression. So yeah, so with that option, it is probably only about like 10%, you know, if that, as far as I can tell, of player regression. I have tried to like test and isolate that, but it'd be kind of hard to tell, even if I was in my right mind, which I'm not right now. But it's at least 90% of the regression that's happening during the off season. So that's a pretty good option. You're really only messing up like 10% maximum of the player regression with that option. Well, that's a little bit of a downside to this. And then of course the other downside is it's a pain in the ass, you know. It's tedious to have to remember to do that every year. Like, how many more things do we have to do to get your game to work, 2K? Anyway, yeah, even given those 2 downsides, that's still, you know, it's still a pretty good option. All right, but there is a different option. So if you're like, no, I don't want any effects whatsoever, even that little 10% or whatever, I don't want any effects on the regression at all, it's too important. If that's you, then we got option number 2. Okay, so with this method, we're basically just saying, okay, player regression is more important. We're just going to set it to 54, the right number for player regression, and we're just going to accept the fact that we're going to have too many assists overall. But what we do is we spread those assists out more throughout the players, so then individual assist numbers are still realistic. Okay, and we can do that with the assist distribution slider right here in the simulation sliders. Okay, so just for next gen, we're going to want to reduce this slider from the normal setting of 49 down to 46. Okay, and for current gen, That slider is normally at 52, so we're going to want to take it down to 49 on current gen. Okay, so either way, taking it down 3 notches from the normal setting. That's the right amount to sort of like deconsolidate those extra assists to keep those individual assist numbers at the normal realistic levels. Okay, so we don't end up with a bunch of dudes in our league averaging like 14 assists a game. You know, even though the overall team assists will be inflated some. I don't know, man. Once again, 2K, do you see what we have to do? Are you seeing some of this stuff? Again, just the things we got to go through just to get your game to make sense. Whatever. That's how we deal with that this year. That's how we get around that. I feel like it's time for me to go like stare at a blank wall again for a little bit. That usually helps me in these times, but I hope this video helped you guys. Hopefully you'd use one of the 2 methods and make the best of it. Pop that like button, by the way, if you enjoyed this video. I'll be back soon. I got a bunch of crap coming up. I'm really happy to be able to upload more often now that I got my new equipment set up and working. This is awesome. Be on the lookout for sure, and hit the bell so you're notified. Subscribe first if you're not already, of course. Alright, that's about all I got in me right now, guys. I'll see you next time. Thank you for watching. Until next time, this is 2K with the pipe boy. Oh man.